Okay, so this is the spoiler section where we get to talk all the spoilers. So, Joe, what were you referencing? First, let me jump in and say I wanted to see Hugh Jackman in the yellow and blue suit.
Yeah,
Joe, that doesn't make any sense. This is an ultra grounded, realistic take. They would have never done that. I found a perfect spot in the film they could have done it, where X-23 they rescue her. And she's a part of this family. They're doing a road trip kind of thing. Eventually, they end up at the Barn family, the farmers, and they spend the night there. And X-23 is noticing how kind Logan is. You see in her face that she's realizing how kind, you know, Wolverine is from these comics that she's read. And he's picking up Xavier and stepping him up the stairs. And he goes into a room and lays him on the bed. And you can kind of barely see it through a crack in the door. I thought it would have been so great if she looked away or she closed her eyes and she opened her eyes again. And she saw through the crack of the door Wolverine in his suit, but you don't have to see him in full glory, just in his suit, laying down Professor Xavier there.
Type of thing. Yeah.
And I thought it would have been done so elegantly, and we would have got to see Hugh Jackman in the suit, and everything would have been, and I was like, wow, and it would have been perfect because that's her image of him, because she had read all these comics, and so basically the storyline is X-23 is a clone daughter of Wolverine's DNA from a mother. He didn't have sex with this lady. It was just some Mexican lady they impregnated with his DNA. And that was the true for a lot of the other kids because this was south of the border as this company was trying to make soldiers and they started with kids. And they realized, well, fuck this kid thing is not working because they're either jumping off buildings, killing themselves, or they have this moral dilemma. No, they still had free will. They said, fuck it, we're going to go with Program X-24, which is Wolverine, an evil Wolverine clone.
They never fucking explained that, though. And that kind of bothered me, how he just literally obeyed every goddamn thing they told him to, with literally no explanation.
Right, and how did they, because the original Wolverine was feral as fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Before his humanity sort of started to come in and control him. Really, he should have just killed all them people when he went crazy at the farmhouse. He should have just gone after the Doctor character too, but I guess he saw the Doctor character as his father.
In the comics, when they make another Wolverine, they put machines and shit in his head to control him rather than just letting him go batshit. Yeah, which they never explained in this. And I was like, eh.
I liked it, and I will excuse it because this was a young, fucking buff and you know rage-filled evil Wolverine clone. Versus an old and busted, decomposing almost, old man Logan.
He can barely pull out his claws.
Yeah, at one point he was like pulling his claw out. And I was like, oh my god, this is so good because you had that tension. You had this skill level deficit between these two guys. And at times X-23 has to help him.
I got to talk about, since we will talk about the ending and tear that apart at the end. But like, I gotta talk about how fucking badass Charles was when he was having his seizures. Yeah. Like the whole casino thing where he's having his seizures and everybody's frozen and he's basically like just a weapon of mass destruction.
Yeah, so
he's having... I like that scene too when Wolverine's trying to come by. One of the security guards or whatever just sees him. He's like,
slowly turns his eye.
His eyes like, I'm fucked.
So to put it in, he has ALS. He has a degenerative brain issue. And he has a brain that everyone knows has like super power, crazy, nutso mind reading, mind control, just insane stuff. And he gets seizures because his brain's degenerating, and he basically just causes everybody to just seize and become paralyzed.
Yeah, and if you surprise him or freak him out, it can also you know be induced right there.
And you find out that this isn't the first time it happened. He killed a bunch of people previously.
They referenced he killed the X-Men. And I thought that was so different and fascinating that they turned that. That's like turning Superman evil in Injustice. But this one goes even deeper because Xavier realizes he's not like evil Superman where he's like, no, this is the way it's going to be done from now on. He's like, oh fuck, and he becomes this broken shell of a man that talks to himself and really doesn't remember what happened, but knows that something happened until he realizes, oh my god, this night with this farm family was one of the best nights I've ever had. And he realizes just then that he's like, but I don't deserve this because I killed all the original X-Men.
They talk about it on the radio. They said that it happened before, and there were 600 wounded and 7 dead.
Yeah,
and
so
the
that
7
was the
dead
X-Men
were
team.
the X-Men.
Yeah, and it could have been the 600 wounded, could have been the rest of the children at the Xavier Academy or just regular civilians. So I thought that was really cool, flipping that on its head and kind of explaining that in a very tragic way. This was a tragedy in many respects. In fact, it is a tragedy because all the main characters fucking die. So... Patrick Stewart,
Dead.
Professor Xavier, fucking dead. And I wish he went out in a little bit better way.
Yeah, he went out like a
He
bitch.
went out quick. I wouldn't say a bitch, but he went out quick.
No, he went out like a
expect
bitch.
it. No.
How did
He got stabbed in the chest and died.
Get up and fight? What
Yeah,
the
come
fuck?
on. It's Professor Xavier. You surprised him. His time was already past. He's old. He's like having a good time. Then you realize, boom, surprised by somebody.
He let his guard down because it
Looks like Logan,
Yeah.
exactly. So I don't think he went out.
He could have gone out in a cool way, like triggering a seizure.
He did that already.
No, he could have
He
triggered
did that.
one, and then the other Wolverine could have come at him nice and slow, and then he could have like held him off long enough for them to get away.
Okay, I can see what you're saying there. They could have done his death a different way. And I kind of agree. Went out and kind of, oh, damn it. And obviously, towards the end of the film, spoilers again, if you're here, this is spoilers.
Saw it, hopefully.
Logan dies at the end of the film. And that's how he does the send-off to the end of the role. And I thought it was appropriate for the film. Yeah, and you know, I heard you wanted him to kill the evil young Wolverine.
I had a good way to wrap that up. But I also have to talk about where in this future, the government is not just jailing mutants, they're straight up capturing and killing them. They're not even like just treating them fairly or anything. They're straight up just finding them and killing them. That is it. There's no two ifs, ands, or buts. And I think there was a scene where they go into like one of the military bases or whatever, and there's just tons of dead mutants on those stretchers. I don't know if they were the dudes from the fight, but there were like 50 or 60 just people on cots. And there were medical dudes going around, and he even said, save this one, he's a good tracker. Take a tissue sample from this guy. I and I didn't know if those were all the dead
So
mutants.
you're saying the implication of that scene, because I didn't really realize who those other dead people
those were. All fucking
so
mutants,
those were mutants, and this was a hunting, sort of unit. But those hunting units was pathetic, man. Any fucking high-level mutant that's still surviving at this point would wipe the floor with this unit. So that probably wouldn't have made total sense unless they were using X-24 as a way to wipe them all out. Then I understand. But yeah, so towards the end of the film, they also have this adamantium bullet. It's like, how are they going to kill Logan? At first I thought Logan, he's going to take his own life, or he's going to run out there's the danger if he wants to take his own life. Never thought that would happen. Nope. But, I thought he would go out fighting, and he does. So the adamantium bullet is actually saved for the X-24 project, this younger version of Logan, where X-24 just beats the fuck out of Logan. Logan he does not win this fight. This is not a triumphant fight. And I heard you wanted this big fight where he fucking wins because he took the injection. I liked how this injection only gave him temporary healing and temporary boost, and he took care of all the infantry that was chasing down the kids that were running for the border.
But see, I still wanted it to last at least half the battle. You still want to see like an epic fight.
I wanted,
and then halfway through, like he feels it. It's like, all right,
so that'd have been cool.
Down.
That'd have been cool.
So
if they made it clear that it's like, oh shit, like they go boom, and then it's like, oh, that would have been
something like that.
In the original comic, he goes back to the Weapon X program because he finds out it's going again. He kills the new Weapon X in straight combat, and he gets adamantium dumped all over his body.
Yep.
And he goes to the very top, and he's like dripping in molten adamantium. He's fucking dead. And with his last breath, he kills the director of the program, and ends the program, and he dies like an accomplished man. In the first fight where they had 24 fighting Logan, he got his ass kicked, like fucking annihilated the first time at the farmhouse. And so I thought when they were doing the resolution, because he was weak through the entire foam, he took the entire vial of like this super drug that basically made him young Logan again. I thought it was going to be like where he's going to die.
I got it.
You know he was going to die. He kicks that guy's ass. He kills him barely. He's all fucked up beyond belief. And then he just kind of dies from his wounds fighting, but he gets to kill
That would have been a more glorious hero death. And I agree it would have been a more glorious hero death. But I liked that they turned your expectations on its head. It dared to be risky, and it did something different, slightly more realistic, that it's like he is already at his end. And he gave whatever last gas in his tank, and then he went past the gas, and he was running on fumes, and he still made it happen. And he needed a little bit of help, yes, from X-23. She uses the adamantium bullet, blows off X-24's head. But to me, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. X-24 is still alive. Because the adamantium bullet would need... Yeah, I was like, okay, so as long as the bullet goes in and lodges in the brain where he can't heal, I was like, okay, I buy this. And I was thinking about that, the bullet, the whole time. I said, they're going to do it when eventually, no, boom, his head blows off. And there ain't no way that that bullet is still there. No. So his brain is regenerating, and the kids run to Canada, and X-24 is going to get up. But you didn't see that. Maybe, shit, should I have stayed for after the credits?
There was none.
Are you bullshit?
There's none. We looked. It literally just ends.
Okay.
That's why we were like so disappointed, is because I looked, there was none. And the other thing I gotta say is they could have done symbolic, because, you know, the adamantium bullet, he was considering killing himself. If he had actually killed X-24, he literally would have killed himself and done it in a different way, in a symbolic way. And then died.
Yeah. I thought it was just a fantastic movie, but I guess I can see what you're saying. I wish there may have been a little bit greater send-off for this character that we love so much, but it was more done in a realistic style where he had nothing left in the gas tank, gave it his all, and managed to let the kids escape to Canada, where apparently they don't pursue the mutants too aggressively and they can hide. But I thought that... What's that?
Well, I was going to talk about the kids.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was thinking that maybe the happy ending. What could have been the happy ending? We got a dark, grim, realistic ending. What could have been the happy ending? You said big fight with a... Let me do one now. Okay. I think it would have been cool if you want a super happy ending. He wins the fight, is barely gonna die, but there's a little bit of green serum left or whatever. They repair him, and he becomes Xavier, and he is leading the kids in Canada and starts a new university, and this is his university. He finally finds a purpose with his daughter character, because this is a character at the beginning of the film that had no purpose whatsoever other than taking care of Xavier, but now Xavier's dead, has no purpose, takes care of this daughter character, and the rest of these kids finally like sort of assumes the mantle of the next professor. That would have been the Hollywood ending that we didn't get. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say when I guess the troops are coming in and closing in on the fucking kids, nobody really used their fucking powers. They didn't do shit.
Yeah, until the end, they're all running this whole time.
None of the kids fought back.
That little fat kid, like,
they've been training them from like whenever they got built or whatever.
Yeah.
But nobody did shit. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Well, they started to do shit at the end. Yeah, right, where it was a Deus Ex thing. No, they all fucked up the blonde guy with all their powers. But they're kids. Listen, Joe, they don't want to fight. That was the point of that they're poor-ass soldiers and they didn't. X-23 was a badass soldier because she has the genes of Wolverine. But the rest of these people didn't necessarily have that fighter gene, and they just wanted to get out of there and run. That's the explanation for me and what I'm thinking.
I don't know. I feel like even she was running. And that's the one thing, is there like 3 dudes chasing her, and she was running for parts of, like, the majority of that. And she was running with the other kids. I would have expected her to just go fucking bad shit.
She did go fucking bad shit, guys.
After, like,
it's a movie. You have to set up the tension of the team running away, trying to get to Canada, and it's like, oh shit, they're on us. Now we turn around and fight a little bit. You guys would have liked to see more of the kids fighting individually rather than at the end where they're all rounded up and they say, you know what, wait a minute. We have fucking powers.
Yeah.
Right, I got you. No,
because I mean, in every family, like you said, they were trained to fight. They knew
Would you lower your review score then?
No, that's what Dr. Dan said 9.
Okay, for that part, And
I wanted a better fight.
Better fight.
Oh, yeah.
I still liked it, though.
All right, so I understand your 7 out of 10. Makes perfect sense now.
Yep.
And same with Beard. Beard, 7 out of 10?
Yep.
Okay, Beard's at 7 out of 10 as well. All right, guys. Well, anything else that you wanted to say? Let's see. The Caliban character, like we said, was very weak. I would have wished they would have used a different character. I would have preferred fucking Jubilee than this character Caliban that I didn't even fucking know. It's just because he was a tracker. So they could have him follow X-23 and have that sort of plot point resolved, and how can they chase them this far?
Why didn't they just use fucking Sabretooth?
Well, it could be the Sabretooth's dead.
He
We
could
don't
be
get
dead,
any allusion to where is Magneto. Does he have his own mutants in an
dead.
island? He's probably dead. I
Everybody's
liked how
dead.
they kind of narrow that focus in and focused really on these. It's a human story between these people who aren't really humans. They're mutants, but you know what I'm saying. So I liked that focus, and I like the fact that you can kind of make it up yourself, and that's the kind of the mark of a good movie, where it gives you enough room to imagine what that there might still be mutants in this universe.
I don't know if you caught this, but they did say that the reason there were no more mutants is because they genetically modified everybody with corn.
Right, yeah. This kind of went over my head initially, but towards the end when the doctor was talking, I was like, oh, and the other guy was like, this is the reason why all the mutants are dying out, is, mutants got to eat. They got to eat fucking food. And they put in a little political message, because that is a real thing. Like, we are consuming a little bit too much corn in our diets. So they were like, all right, let's put that in here. And that's how the mutants' powers are getting,
it was enough that it wouldn't affect normal people, but it genetically modified everyone else that was a mutant and got rid of their powers.
Yeah, so they really, when you think about it, all the plot points are kind of pretty tight around here. We're just hoping for a little bit better send-off and a little bit better villains. But otherwise, fantastic movie. It needs to be seen and talked about below. If you disagree with us, or if you want to say something about like the battle or how it was in the comments, someone we missed, leave it down below. Can't wait to read them. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The only other thing I'd like to talk about real quick is the opening. Initially, and I don't know if you're going to get to see this in your theater, but this film opened with Deadpool. And so I was like, wait a minute, did I walk into the wrong movie? Am I getting Deadpool 2 now?
I was really hoping that it would have just been a Deadpool movie.
Yeah. Well, no. I wanted Deadpool to meet Wolverine. I wanted them to actually cross over and Hugh Jackman and Deadpool. I would have been like, fuck yeah, if they found a way to do it. But it did feel like out of place, and I was like, no way. And then I realized this is an advertisement for Deadpool 2. And it was done perfectly. Now, of course, I'm going to say that.
I wonder why.
Because Deadpool does a Superman. There's somebody's robbing a guy who has a bunch of groceries, an old man with a gunpoint, and beating his ass, and then Deadpool's like, oh shit, and he's like runs to a phone booth, and then he's like taking his clothes off, his ass is up against the thing, and he's taking such a long time, and you're hearing the whole time, oh god, somebody, has nobody heard me, fuck, stuff like that, and they play the Superman theme. John Williams, a Marvel property, is playing DC music and using it more effectively than DC did in Superman films and in Batman v Superman. And I was like, Marvel is using this song and it's rushing all the feelings of superheroism and doing the right thing. And they played it for laughs in a good way, not a disrespectful way to Superman, in sort of a revering kind of way, saying, Deadpool's kind of a fuck up, and that's just his personality. So he ends up, the dude gets shot, he hears a gunshot, he's like, oh. All right, what does he do? He goes over there, sits down next to him, eats his Ben and Jerry's ice cream.
That took a lot longer than I thought it would.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know how they do it, how this guy does it. And I was like, oh my god.
Why is there a phone book? Didn't they get rid of him?
He's like, we're both ignoring the real question here. Why is there a phone booth on that corner?
Yeah, so I might take this clip if they actually release that, and I'm just gonna release this clip here because this is how I felt about it. We'll react to it again, but this was so perfect, and it really encompasses, to me, that they know what they're doing with Deadpool, and I cannot wait for Deadpool 2. And kind of takes a jab. Well, no, not really. It doesn't take a jab at DC,
Nope.
but it's just I wish DC was doing better and actually using their own fucking music in the right way in their own films to really pump up Superman in the right way. But they're not going to use that John Williams theme ever. They're not going to use it in Justice League, I can guarantee you. They're not going to use it in Man of Steel 2, I guarantee you, because DC and WB are fucking it up. Not until the next crowd, like when I am fucking 60 years old and they do another Superman film, maybe I might get to see Superman on screen with that music again, and yeah. So, anyways, Logan was badass. Deadpool 2 looks fucking cool, like they still know what they're doing, and yeah, it's awesome. I can't wait, and see you guys on the next Angry Joe show. Bye, guys.